We're so thrilled to bring on this next guest to the Rail Talk studio. He's the general manager of Ocala Stud, David O'Farrell. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, guys. Looking forward to it.
So great to have you, and it's you are at the helm of such an interesting company, I think, in the racing and breeding world, because Ocala Stud has really carved out a great niche in Florida as both a stallion station, as a consigner. I mean, you guys kind of do it all a little bit, and it's a family business. And can you just tell us a little bit about what's made Ocala Stud be able to stand out in the Florida racing and breeding environment?
Well, we just love the industry to begin with. I mean, it's our passion. It's what we do. I mean, I don't know anything else. I was born into this. I'm third generation. My grandfather moved here from Maryland in 1956 and, grew the farm to national prominence pretty quickly. The first Florida bred Kentucky Derby winner, was won the year that we moved to Florida. Needles won in 56. He was actually born on this farm when it was Dickey Stables prior to. And then 5 years later, Carrie Back, who was born, raised, and trained at Ocala Stud, won the Derby in 61. So in 5 years, you had two Derby winners come out of Florida. That'd be like Georgia having two Derby winners in 5 years right now. It was unheard of. There wasn't a big horse population, and it was a big deal. And so the farm kind of grew, and the O'Farrells and our crew grew with it. And we've just been fortunate to be able to withstand the test of time. And, it's a lot of work, but it's a family operation and we love what we do.
And you mentioned a couple of Florida breds that have won the Derby. And now it looks like that you guys have a hand in quite a few Derby and Oaks prospects. You want to just kind of walk us through how Ocala Stud has been involved with some of these horses?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really good here lately. We have really good clients that send us really nice horses. And that's, first and foremost. We have a homebred that my brother and I own a piece of the mare that, has been really good to us. We bred the mare to be a 2-year-old, and she didn't quite make the cut, and her name was the Shady Lady. So she didn't make a 2-year-old sale. We retained her for a brood mare. Next thing you know, we bred her to our stallion, Awesome Slew, and we got a smashing 2-year-old colt named Hades that we sold to DJ Stable, and he just won the Holy Bull and beat the 2-year-old champion. So we're super excited about him, and we think Hades has a bright future. We've been fortunate. We've had a few others. We had Fierceness at the farm last year. We had Locked, who won the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, and he's pointing to his next start in the Fountain of Youth. He's a serious contender. Agate Road is another one that graduated here last year. He ran a game second in the Sam Davis last week, and he's an exciting horse. He was kind of pegged a turf horse early on, but he's bred for the dirt and he's bred to run all day long. So he's exciting. And then there's a couple of others that could sneak in the picture. Born Noble has a ton of talent, went off heavily favored last weekend at Gulfstream and just came up short, but he's a horse with immense potential.
Yeah, no, we're definitely excited about him. We got a tiny piece of him at West Point, so can't wait to see what he does the rest of the year. John, we made it about you for a little bit, so I got to bring it back to me eventually. But no, I mean, just looking at the stallion roster you guys have, it's a pretty good roster, especially with Awesome Slew has been a great value sire. Adios Charlie obviously has had success in the Florida bred program for years. You got Colonel Liam, who obviously was a multiple grade 1 winner on turf. 2-part question. First, what is the scouting process like for you guys when you decide which stallions to go after? And then secondly, they're all like very reasonably priced. I think the most expensive one on the stallion roster is Roadster at $7,500. How do you go about pricing those horses after you secure them as a stallion?
Well, our philosophy as far as bringing in new stallions, it's tough to compete in that space. It's hard for us to go after the Sons of Into Mischief, the Sons of Curlin, Warfront, so on and so forth. So we have to kind of think outside the box. My family's had a long history of making stallions. And we do it sometimes by bringing in horses that are maybe by less than fashionable stallions. We either get a really good racehorse that's a little weak on pedigree, or a really good, really well-bred horse that maybe is a little light on race record that maybe had some potential. But it's hard for us to compete for the full package. So we've been successful with sires that are maybe by less than fashionable horses. We stood a horse named Trippy, who was by Insweep. He was a great stallion for us. We had Montbrook, who was by Buckaroo. We had Notebook, who was kind of an old stalwart Florida stallion. He was by Well Decorated. Cantheros was by Lionheart. Gervin was by Tale of a Cotty. So we take shots on horses like Win Win Win, who are by Hat Trick. Or we take shots on horses, that maybe have a little something different in their pedigree, but they had a lot of ability. Win 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 was a very talented racehorse. He was very fast. He's got 3 Derby winners up close in his pedigree, so there's no reason why he can't be a good sire.
And aside from the good racehorses, it looks like you're also picking up stallions that have multiple surface ability as well. Gretzky the Great, Colonel Liam, obviously turfed. Is that part of the equation as well? Do you see that more and more racetracks are going to multiple surfaces, and you want to try to get on top of it?
Yeah, no question. You have to be versatile in today's world. I think you've got to have horses that can do both. I mean, if you have a great dirt stallion, that's all well and good, but most of these horses are going to run over different surfaces, or there's just more opportunities for turf and even synthetic now coming back into play. So I think you have to have a horse that can fare well on any surface.
David, just as a quick follow-up also, sorry, Joe, with Gervin, who obviously, was at your farm for a number of years and graduated in essence and went to Kentucky. Is that ultimately your goal for these stallions, is to hopefully have them be good enough where they're going to, move up to Kentucky and stand for more money? Or are you guys better off having the horses stay with you and just pumping out as many, really good Florida breds as possible?
Well, as much as we'd love to have the stallions stay here in Florida, we just understand the economics of the business. And, we'd love to be able to keep a top-notch stallion here in Florida. But the truth of the matter is, we just can't support right here today, a $30,000 stallion. Maybe we can get there again. But, I've kind of assumed the role. We'd gladly be the stepping stone. We'd love to get the opportunity to get another horse off to a great start in their career. And, if they go to Kentucky, then that means we've done our job. And, I had an owner that asked me that very question. He said, will you be upset if we move them to Kentucky? I said, no, that's our job. That means we've succeeded. So, that's kind of where we are. And, I think it's a great place to start stallions, we've been pretty successful at it.
I wanted to shift gears a little bit to the 2-year-old sales, because you guys have a consignment coming up at the OBS March sale. You guys have been doing this for a long time, going to those sales. The sales have developed some parts for the better, some parts for the worse over the years. I think some of the newer regulations, like getting rid of clenbuterol and cracking down on corrective surgeries, I think is a positive thing for the horses long term. But you're a veteran of the 2-year-old sales. How have you seen them develop, either for better or for worse, over your time going to them?
Yeah, the 2-year-old sales are our livelihood. My grandfather, he was the first one to hold a 2-year-old sale. When he moved and bought the farm in '56, we had a racetrack, and he had inferior bred horses to Kentucky. So he knew he couldn't market them as yearlings and make any money. So we all know that horses outrun their pedigree at times. So he put the training into them, convinced the track owner at Hiley to let him put up a tent, and he sold 2-year-olds in training. And that's how it all started. Wow. And so we've been doing it ever since. We sell our entire crop at the 2-year-old sales. We breed. We don't pin hook. We breed and carry them all the way. So it's a 3-year investment. And we've seen the process evolve over the years, but there's been no faster segment of the marketplace that's grown as quickly as 2-year-old sales. And a big part of that is because the runners have come out of it.
And I know just from being on a couple of boards with you, we're very proud of the fact that OBS is such a safe surface, and that the horses have graduated and gone on to it. That is tactically important, Joe, for us as a company and also as an industry. And David's been a big part of going through and making sure that we have some of these safety protocols in place. Do you just want to touch on a couple of the protocols that we have in place, David?
Yeah, I think we're a leader in medication now. We've really gotten on board and aligned ourselves with what the protocols are at the races and also the track. I mean, we have the safest track, I believe, in America. It's unbelievable. I mean, for what we do, we get a lot of spring showers and heavy rains. And, if you have inclement weather and you don't have the luxury of moving your breed show to another day, and you have to breeze over less than ideal conditions, we have a track that can handle just about any type of weather event. And it's just very kind to the horses. For what we do, I'm a big believer and proud of our racetrack. And the horses go on and they win dirt races all over the world. So, it's been good to us, and I think it's an asset to OBS.
And just to piggyback on that, are there any improvements that you would like to see on the 2-year-old sales over time? Whether it's less of an emphasis on going 9-4 or 9-3, like, is there something that you think we could be doing better at the 2-year-old sales?
Well, I think we always need to be looking for rooms, for areas that we can improve upon. It is kind of madness. We always seem to get faster and faster and faster. And it just, when racehorse times stay the same over the course of history. I mean, our old stallion that came to the farm from Maryland, Rough and Tumble, is a sire of Dr. Fager, who still holds the world record mile, and horses at the track still can't beat it, but we can keep beating our best times at the 2-year-old sales. Horses are working 20-2 now, so it's interesting, but I think the runners are continuing to come out of the 2-year-old sales. We broke down the stats over a 10-year period, and we actually 2-year-old sales have the highest percentage of winners to starters amongst every other segment of the marketplace. So the runners are coming out of the 2-year-old sales, and we just have to continue to improve upon safety and keep those measures in place and just try to get better.
And with regard to the 2-year-old sales, David, you have a mixed bag of horses coming into this March sale, especially. You have some homebreds, like you mentioned, that are being keyed and pointed for the March and April sales, and then you also have a few horses, 10 or 11 horses from the Lodenbach dispersal. How did that all come into play? And are there some specific horses within the consignment that people should be looking at with the Breeze Show coming up and the sale in the next couple of weeks?
So we usually carry about 10 to 12 to the March sale. We treat it like the select sale that it used to be. I think you have to bring a very forward horse, something that can appeal to the select type buyers. And so, we still kind of treat it as such. We've got a couple of win-win-wins. First crop 2-year-old sire this year. 2 fillies that have been working very well. Got a lot of high hopes for them. One's out of a young Into Mischief mare named Ganao, and she's really fast, very athletic. Very excited about her. We have an awesome slew filly out of a young Nyquist mare that I really like, doing very well. And we're selling one for a client, colt by Matoli out of Zooming By, that's really fast. He's very athletic, doing extremely well right now. We had some of the Lodenbach dispersal horses that kind of fell in our lap at the last minute. They made deadline, and there's 40 some odd horses in the sale, split up amongst 4 consigners, and we were fortunate enough to be one of those operations that were able to take these horses. And I haven't seen them yet, but they're going to ship directly into OBS. Chad Stewart, who's been training them all along, does a great job. I've been in communication with him, and we're going to get all of our heads together, the 4 consigners, and try to make it as uniform as possible, and try to synchronize, what we're going to do as far as presenting them for the Breeze Show.
Well, David, we really appreciate the time. I got to say, I've admired you guys from afar in this industry for a while. So I really appreciated getting to know you and getting to know the business a little bit more. So appreciate you coming on, David.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Yeah. And also best of luck with all the Derby horses.
Thank you very much.
A lot of action. You got a lot of action coming up.
Did you get a new suit yet? Did you go to the tailor and make sure you got a Derby suit?
Not yet. I don't want to jinx it.
John's already printing up T-shirts, so if that doesn't jinx it,
that's right. You're getting yours is en route, by the way. So actually, on the back, it says owner, trainer, and also the breeders as well. So
yep. Perfect.
So you're on there as a Ocala Stud breeder and an OBS graduate, both.
Well, we have a full brother to Hades selling at OBS April, so just around the corner.
Wow.
Nice
okay.
Yeah,
that's great. That's great.
Nice don't tell anybody. Update.
Don't tell anybody else. We want to have dibs.